Let's meet the fighters.
So coming down to the cage first out of the blue corner will be Justin Buxton out of Pix Martial Arts in St. Albert, Alberta, 145-pound weight class, just 22 years old, and says that he enjoys training, and that means that fighting is the next step as he gets set to make his amateur debut.
Well, he's been training for about a year and a half, so it's time to, at this point, if you're serious about fighting, this is your time to step up. This is the time to know whether or not you are ready for fighting, and we've talked about it at previous events, but when you are an amateur and you are 0-0, it's just very much like being around children. You're going to know really quick when you get punched in the face, yeah, this is for me or it's not for me. And it's one of those things that it's a good time at about a year and a half that you're experienced enough to go in there and put on a good show, but at the same time, you haven't been training for 5 years towards an MMA career, then all of a sudden you don't want to do MMA anymore because getting punched in the face is not your friend.
Well, and Justin Buxton, like you mentioned, comes in with 18 months experience. I said he had a few years with Taekwondo when he was younger, but nothing to a serious level or a tournament level. But figures that experience may help him have quicker hands than his opponent, and that's what he's counting on tonight.
Well, and Taekwondo is one of those disciplines that many fighters have, but they don't really push to the forefront, only because it's not recognized as one of the main three: kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling. It's not in there, but you look at Justin Buxton with that Taekwondo experience is going to help him, because that competition, even though it was lower end tournaments, it's still a competition, and knowing what that's like is good experience for him.
So just a little bit of last minute maintenance on Justin's gloves here as he gets ready to step in the cage. Wouldn't want that Velcro out exposed, because in a grappling situation that can end up being a problem for someone.
Yeah, and the Velcro can do some damage. It's very much like very short hair. If you rub that against your opponent's face, you strip off skin. So that's why we make sure that those gloves are taped.
So it looks like the final preparations have been ready, and Justin Buxton will step into the cage to make his amateur debut here at Hard Knocks 30. Of course, my name is Ryan Ballantyne alongside Jeremy Ballantyne as we come to you live from the Century Casino in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, under the Calgary Combative Sports Commission, as Justin Buxton steps into the cage for the very first time.
And his opponent.
So you mentioned, Jeremy, 18 months, the right time to get into the cage. Well, James Nanasca, who comes to us out of Knuckles here in Calgary, has been training for 4 years before he deemed himself ready to step in the cage. So a bit of a different story here.
Well, Knuckles is known for making sure that their fighters are going to come in and dominate. They don't like losing fights. That is a staple. They just don't like losing, and so they make sure that their fighters are ready. It also depends on the training commitment. If James Nanasca has been off and on, or 4 years solid, some guys just take that longer step to get in there. And James Nanasca, just because he took 4 years doesn't mean he's any less ready for this fight than Justin Buxton.
Yeah, and he's coming in with that 4 years experience. It's interesting when I asked him why MMA, which is a question I ask all guys making their debut, why get into the gym in the first place? He said that MMA is the most honest sport a man can do, and it is the truest test of one's character. So we'll see what James Nanasca can bring in terms of character into the cage, and what he's able to do as a mixed martial artist here in his amateur debut.
Well, and one of those things that, and he's absolutely correct in saying that, because once you're in there, you don't have teammates to help you. You don't have safeties like you do in football. You've got yourself, your gloves, and that's all that stands between you and your opponent. So a good show here, and for our official introductions, we'll throw it up to Jaden Nance.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the blue corner for the Roughnecks Lacrosse, think inside the box. It's his amateur debut. He's 22 years old and stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall. He weighed in at 154.5 pounds. Fighting out of Pix Martial Arts from Edmonton, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Justin Buxton. And in the red corner for Pete the Plumber, the hero of plumbing, it's his amateur debut. He's 20 years old and stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall. He weighed in at 153 pounds. Fighting out of Canuckles MMA from Calgary, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, James Nanasca. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Len Koivisto.
Len Koivisto in charge of the action as both fighters get sent back to their corners. Justin Buxton will come out of the blue corner in the camo trunks. It's the gray trunks for the red corner, and James Nanasca as both of these guys make their amateur debut here tonight.
And some early striking from both guys trying to find the range. Nice kick there by Buxton.
Big inside leg kick on that one.
And a nice outside kick from Nanasca.
Both fighters throwing strikes early and often here in the early going. Nice combination there from Nanasca, getting his opponent up against the cage, trying to secure the takedown. A nice job of fending that off, though, from Buxton, who now has double unders.
Yeah, good pummeling there from Justin Buxton. Good position. And now a jumping attempt there, but it was, I think he stopped a little bit by Buxton. Not sure what Nanasca was going for. Now has an armbar, so we'll see where this goes.
And does have that armbar locked in. This fight is over. Justin Buxton falls to the armbar. James Nanasca jumps up on his opponent's back and gets the victory as he came down and found himself an arm free.
Well, and Buxton is furious with himself for getting caught. Didn't think that he had it, and so didn't pull the respect that he might have had for that armbar. He felt it was a little loose, but it went from loose to tight in just a fraction of a second, and I can see the frustration on Buxton's face.
We would like to extend a special thank you to Dr. Christopher Morse at Kaleo Health and Spine for your time and commitment in helping Hard Knocks fighter complete their medical requirements.
So you saw there, there was no thought to the armbar by Justin Buxton, and Nanasca found his arm in between his legs, and look at the extension there. Classic extension on that armbar.
And now, the Shaw GMC Tough Trucks Hard Knocks 30 official decision, brought to you by Kaleo Health and Spine. The winner by armbar at 56 seconds in the very first round, in the red corner, James Nanasca.
James,
I'll get you here, center of the cage. You come in tonight making your amateur debut. A lot of quick exchanges back and forth. Seemed like you were trying to jump up and grab a choke. You found an arm instead.
Yeah, I was trying to get the back, but he did a good job putting the weight down, so I never had enough space to turn in and get the back. So I just went on my back where I'm comfortable, slipped in the armbar.
Now, just 1 minute in the first round in your amateur debut. Were you hoping for a little more ring time?
This is exactly what I wanted.
I'm sure you got some coaches and sponsors to thank as well.
Everyone at Canuckles, everyone at MMAU, everyone, Max Marin has been helping me out so much. All my friends and family coming out here, paying $60 to come here. Thanks a lot, guys. It means a lot.
Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, James Nanasca.
James Nanasca, impressive in his first victory here as an amateur. And you just see the look here on Justin Buxton. We just missed it there on the camera angle, but he was just flat out disappointed with himself, put himself on the mat and couldn't believe that he didn't respect that armbar enough. And then all of a sudden, he's tapping out, and that elbow got extended pretty hard.
Yeah, it didn't take him long to tap once the elbow was ready. And looks like we might be ready for our next fight here very quickly. But a nice start to an amateur career for James Nanasca.